Welcome back, attendees. It's time for a second session. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we have a sponsor presentation by Mr. Huang Win from Solar Edge Technologies. I request you to kindly share your screen, sir. Huang, sir, are you with us?
Can I share screen?
Yes, sir. Please share your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Please proceed.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Vinh. I'm from Solar Vietnam. Today is very happy that I'm on behalf of Solar to do some presentation for the Solar technology. With the topics is the optimize your PV system investment and safety with the Solar. Okay. We are Solar. We are number one solar inverter company on the world. We count by revenue. The Solar is the power optimizer inverter. So we have two component optimizer and inverter. In the world, we have the nearly 90 million power optimizer was shipped, was installed all around the world. Together with the 3.5 million inverter was shipped. 2.6 size, meaning 2.6 system was installed and monitoring by the solar system. The revenues in the first Q of 2022, we got the 655 million USD. We have the around nearly 30 gigawatts on the world, 34 country presents, and we have the 420 awarded patent and 419 additional patent application. The employee, we have the 4,100 employee, and one third is focused in R&D application. In here, we talk about the structure of the cost of the solar system. We can see in here the inverter only occupy around 11% of the system cost. However, it's influencing around nearly 27% of total cost, electric bill balance of system cost. So we can call the inverter can become the brain of the system because they manage 100% of the system production. Beside us, how to maintain the inverter for the operation in the lifetime of the solar system. So the control and expand to the PV asset management solution is very important. So therefore, the inverter selection is very critical for the long-term finance performance of the PV system, as it can maximize the energy production and reduce lifetime costs. In here, you can see about structure of the solar system. Inverter occupies 11%. The main portion is the 59% come from the PV module. The 16% is the come from the electric balance of system, and the balance is 14% from the structure balance of system. In this slide, we are talking about the traditional inverter limitation. For example, the energy loss, because traditional string inverter find the maximum of the maximum power output at the string level. So at the individual module level, they cannot find the maximum power output. This is the one of limitation to prevent the module from reaching their maximum production potentials. The second one is limited in the design flexibility. String design is restricted, significantly limited system layout and size. The third one, very low in resolution monitoring because we don't have any data of the module performance. The last one we emphasize in here, that's the safety hazard. The high voltage in the module level, even when inverter AC power up, it causing very risky of the risk in the fight happen in the solar system. In here is general picture of the solar. We can see about our optimism. We got the 25 years warranty with the inverter. We can see in here the 12-year standards, and we can extending 20-year warranty very cheap price. In here, we monitoring the inverter and optimizer together through the monitoring platform of solar, and it's free 20 years. Besides, we still have the commercial gateway that's connected to the sensor environment. You can use to evaluate about the solar system operation through the through the PR of the system. And because we have the sensor in here, the irradiance sensors, wind, everything, sir. Of course, that connection with the power interaction very important. Because of some limitation of the traditional inverter, so the solar thinking is about how to sharply in the technology to devise about the string inverter with the two common, that's it, MPPTs to convert DC to DC become the power optimizer connected to the PV module. The second part is the DC AC converter become the simplified inverter, meaning that in the inverter so that we don't have MBBT more because MBBT has become the optimizer to stick on the BV module already. The difficulty how to communication between the inverter and optimizer very important in here. This is the technology of solar in here, because so optimizer of solar and the inverter so it communication through the string DC cable. They use the DC cable with the two to touch one to transfer the DC. The second one is communication together. This slide we talk about the mismatch caused power loss. As we know that for the BV, of course, in the beginning they have some different in the tolerance, in the soil in operation, in the shadows, and in the some different in temperature, the tills of the optimize the till of the BV modules and the some broken downs of the transportation also making the difference in the PV power. So we can see in here the red dust line more and more down because of some trouble in of the BV, and you can see the maximum of the BV in here 250 they cannot produce at the maximum power they can produce. They follows about the low is the quick kicks of the BV in here with the production is meaning that this BV had the low energy loss based on their ability, and time by time the dust line become lower, the difference between the BV module become more and more energy meaning more revenues. In the BV system each mod- module has the individual maximum power point. So with the solar, each module can produce the maximum power energy. We can see in this picture, for example, the cloud fly above the PV. For the typical system, the traditional system, one PV dropping down 90%, so, and the other also have to drop down 90% together. Because why? Because these PV they connect easily together. For the solar system, it's totally different. Just only one PV drop 90%, the others still work operation with the highest operational power they are working, because in here the BV module they connected with each power optimizer, and the optimizer connect together, meaning in this string the module don't connect together, they separately operation. In in this slide, we're talking about the how flexibility designed to maximize the capacity. Because of the power optimizer enable installation of each module in partial shadow area, the string of the uneven length, the string of multi-aeration and different rooftop physics. So very flexibility in the site design and more module design on the rooftop. We can utilize about the space, the whole space of the rooftop. Cost savings. Balance of system cost saving with the solar, you can we can up to the 60 module per string, meaning the few string will be installed. So the few string meaning less the wiring, combiner box, and the few e-takes, and the less on-site cell crimping at the string end. So we can consider is up to the 50% reduce in the balance of system cost. Of course, that the less string meaning the reduce the risk of the failure and the fire. Easy for O&M and lower cost, because in the solar automatic alerts for the module and inverter. And the performance. For example, because we have the clouds of monitoring of the solar in here, we can see easily for each module got a trouble based on our cloud of storage. So we can know before what happened of the module at actual the size. We can use some analysis by the just by the check to how is operation in the terms of the actual size. The second one, the schedule maintenance according to the problem and the effect on the system performance too. So we can feel a chip to the site and last time spent on the site. In here, we talk about the BV system safety. We talk about the what are the electric arcs. The definition in here of the electric arc is ongoing high energy discharge result from the current passing through the normal non-conducting media such as the air. The arcs will create the shock hazard or potential for the fire due to the electrification of the insulation. And the arc also generate the heat which can cause the fire and pose the burns risk to those working in close proximity. The reason is common reason in here because the faulty and improperly connected cable or connector corrosion, animal chewing wires, and the failure in DC isolator. Overheat also caused from the PV system component, and the risk of arcs increase the system aging due to the degradation of the connection of the cable. So very important for the rapid shutdown, how to protect the BV system. Very rapid shutdown is very important. The standards a now mandatory adopted in the firstly in North America and around in the Asia country at the Philippines and now in the Thailand. They are applying rapid shutdown to protect their BV system by on the safety. So the rapid shutdown they require the rooftop have the ability to very quickly reduce the voltage to non-lethal levels in the event of emergency. According to the updates of the NEC 2017 regulation in Americas, this requirement apply for the voltage for the both inside and outside of the BV array. And this revision does significant improving about the safety level for emergency personnel. Why we need the rapid shutdown? Of course, that we maximize the safety on the BV system. Even though the BV inverter or grid shutdown, the BV modules still produce the high voltage, so increase the safety for installation and maintenance personnel. The firefighter cannot make sure there is no electrocution risk even though system was shut down, and reduce the loss on the property damage and finance. Of course, that revision meet the some global standards at NEC 2014, 2017, increasing now in 2020, the most updated one of the NEC. Of course, that's the FM Glow. That's the one of the commercial insurance property leader on the world. They approve about the following the NEC. This is the full solar safety suit. With the select, we have the SET DC. SET DC is a definition from the SOLAS with the ensure the system DC voltage reduced to the step level when the system is shut down within the 5 minutes, 300 seconds. To increase about the more safety, the rapid shutdown appear following about the NEC 2017 and 20. Allow the fast discharge from conductor to the step voltage level only within 30 seconds. 30 seconds differently with the 5 minutes. Together with R4 protection comply with the UL 1699B, provide ability to detect, terminate, and act through the inverter. Together with the module level monitoring, meaning they send the automatic notification on the system issue to prevent about the potential of the safety and risk. So the four key benefits of the set offering. The first, more energy, because we optimize each panel by each panel. So the increased energy yields and the faster return on investment to the module level MBBT. The second one, lower O&M costs because we have full visibility of system performance and remote troubleshooting. The third one, we enhance the safety. The safety during installation, maintenance, firefighting, and all the emergencies happen. Of course, that flexibility in the design, we maximize the space utilization with the minimum design times. In here, that's either some reference projects in the South Asian country, yeah. Vietnam, with the Alpha Plastics, we do at the case study, and the order of Toyota, for example, and the floatings, and the farms, and the some car park. Thank you very much for your attention. This is our presentation from Servlet Vietnam.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful presentation. Now it's time to have our much awaited panel discussion for the topic on the big tech trends shaping large scale solar. In the esteemed panel, we have Mr. Milan Koev from Hexagon Peak, who is the moderator for today, Mr. Hoang Win from Solar Edge Technologies, Mr. Hari Ganjine from Super Energy Corporation, and Mr. Teen Lu from Solar Electric. Welcoming all the panelists on the screen, and I'm handing it over to Milan, sir.
Thanks, Priyanshi. Thank you. Can I just ask everyone to have a quick intro of their activities, particularly in Vietnam? And we take it from there. Maybe we start with Tien, who will be introducing in Vietnamese, I suppose.
Xin chào mọi người, tôi là Lưu Minh Tiến, là tổng giám đốc công ty của Solar Electric Việt Nam. Xin chào mọi người, tôi là Tiến, là tổng giám đốc công ty của Solar Electric Việt Nam, một đơn vị phát triển và nhà thầu EPC trong lĩnh vực về Commercial and Industrial tại Việt Nam.
Thanks, Tien. Hadi?
Okay, thanks Milan. Xin chào everyone. So I just know that part. So I'm Hadi Gencine, Head of IT Integrated Technology and Innovation at Super Energy Corporation. Also official member of Forbes Technology Council. Happy to be here. About Super Energy Corporation, we are one of the pioneer regional energy company in Southeast Asia, specifically in Thailand and Vietnam. So in Vietnam, we have about 836 megawatt solar plant under operation, and we also have wind farms as well under operation and development in Vietnam in different provinces. And yeah, just that about super energy here.
Thank you. Vaishali?
Sir, she's from my team, so the other
sorry.
speaker would be Huang, sir.
Yeah, we
And
heard him speaking. That's all right. Great, thanks. I guess my first question is back to Huang. We saw a couple of reference projects on your deck, but can you just elaborate on what is usually the type of applications that Solar Edge is supplying its products to, particularly in Vietnam?
Yeah, actually, in the Vietnam, we have supply around 30 megawatts since we started 2016 until now. The most focus things we hosted in C9 and the residential together. We have some key reference projects are in along the Vietnams, and one of the most focused things, the most case study that's we reacted to public in the markets, either anti-plastics. One of the typical projects in the Ho Chi Minh City of the Tân Binh industrial areas, they are using the solar because of the some savings the electricity cost, and the second one they can optimize about the house utilize of the space of the rooftop of their currently operation. And the third one, ones of the favorites from the generator of the anti-plastic, they really appreciate about the technology of the solar. That means can seize can get their own information that from data module that they can make the adjustment before they go to the site. and saving about the O&M cost. And surely that's the most important from they appreciate is the most safety. That's what they bring to them to their operation when they when they install and invest the solar.
Thank you. And do you have any numbers that you can share regarding how much you can optimize the power related to the space available when you compare to other inverters, string inverters?
Yeah, actually, so we have the around maybe 70% increasing to optimize of the space. For example, first because the string inverter they got some the restriction in the designing about how the land together have to same for the deal of the BV for the exactly of the BV have to the same everything's in the design string. And of course that you have to arrange make difficulty for the designer engineer have to arrange a layout how to fit with the roof stuff. So we have another comparison that's we have the increasing is about 27% increase to compare with the space of the rooftop compared to the string inverter.
Perfect. And you mentioned that I think that's the last follow-up question to you, but it's interesting. You mentioned you guys can optimize the operation and maintenance cost as well. Now, is there any number around there on what investors could expect if they deploy solar edge products in terms of cost optimization for O&M? And I
Yeah.
suppose there is going to be a slight premium, price premium for your products compared again to string inverters. Do you mind to share what that would be?
Yeah, very tough question to consider about the O&M, how compared to the other. For example, in the market, we got that's around the 1 megawatts. They have to pay for the O&M cost for the ABC around the 5,000 to 7,000 yearly for 1 megawatt. But the first solar because you don't need to every time you got a trouble you go to the site you can see on the monitoring platform of the solar that you can predict it, what happened before you go to the site. So some everything you repair when you go to the site, you just fix directly once time. Of course, that depends on the site, how far from your office. For example, from the South Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City to the Central Vietnam, it's you quite often to take flight back. Maybe the cost increasing because you many times to go to the site to check and come back to give the solution to fix it. For the solar very easily you can see in the monitoring platform that you can see what happening based on the data because you have all data of the module, you have the data of the everything, the string, the inverter, everything. So you can based on the data you have data you can predict it, you can know what happening timely by timely, and you have the some what you preparation and just one time to go to the site to fix things. So estimately you can saving around the 30% to the 70% of the O&M cost. If depends, of course, that depends of the how far and how far up the location up you are.
Okay, and regarding cost premium towards string inverters?
So that's of course that we have the inverter and we have the optimizer. That's one of the key technology of the solar to key up the component of solar to get everything and make different between the solar technology to the other string inverter. Of course, that we can say that we hire, but based on the higher, we can bring the some authentic. For example, you can saving about BOS cost around 12,000 USD per 1 megawatt. Besides that, you can increasing about the the energy around 2.5 percentage in the first year, and the year 20 you can increasing about 6 percentage. So you can saving a lot. You can have get a lot new energy and increasing your performance. The second, the third one is the O&M. I just explanation to you about the O&M also contribute a lot of your saving cost in the 20 year for example for lifetime of solar for example. And of course that the most important is the safety. You can image that When the risk happen, when the fire happen, what's in the next? You can do everything. Just investment and how to protect your investment. That's the one of the key component from solar to contribute with the investment and contribute for the rooftop owner with their operation, because the solar in the rooftop to compare with the property and the people working on the factory is very small to compare together. So protect their property under the rooftop, protect the operation of people working there is most important. Then the amount you pay for the technology to protect with the most safety technology.
Understand. It will be interesting to see some case studies, but we can take this offline later. Thanks, Juan.
Yeah, thank you.
Hadi, I suppose you guys don't really use much of solar edge inverters. I would be surprised if you do for utility scale projects. But can you share with us a little bit more on the technologies that you implement in your Vietnam portfolio?
Okay. So we don't have any solar project under development, but in future we will consider them. So we are using different models. Sangru is one of them. However, for inverters, at the moment we are seeing some inverters with a smart controller and using AI technologies, as Juan mentioned, that they are collecting the data and uh, mm, like provide a better system and data for the operation and maintenance team to have a better observation and monitoring on the system, on the strings, on the sites to do the best operation on that cases. Uh, uh, However, it is still going on because I see the focus on the uh, devices hardware part in the solar farm industry especially is more than the software part. uh, Recently we can see all the investment if we consider as like the technology development in solar industry in three sections that we consider. One of them as a cell development, the second one is like we consider it as a photovoltaic panels development and the inverters related to that one, and the third one as the innovation and the technology in that part. So the first one and the second one developed properly, but however the software part is still, we have some ideas that there are some technologies coming, but in the developing con and real case studies is not examined properly. So these are the things that I can mention about that part. But however, for inverters, I think if we can consider some automation and AI systems come to this industry, it would be help a lot.
Okay, I guess next topic is floating solar. Do you see, Hari, again to you? I guess in Thailand there is a little bit more traction in this space. Do you see any development in floating in Vietnam, or that's not going to be a short-term thing?
For floating solars, I think this is the part that we can see a lot in Middle East because I'm come from there, because we have temperature issues there and the hydropower. So the floating solar panels using in the dam for hydropower to preventing vaporization and energy part to use the hybrid systems in that area. It's so common and it's getting more trend and trend in Middle East because some vaporization and the temperature issues. However, in Vietnam, because they have, I didn't see much, but because of the land issue in Vietnam, I think the floating solar panels like used in dam or offshore like can be a big step for Vietnam.
Yeah, when you say hydro and temperatures, yes, Middle East comes up on the agenda, but I guess Vietnam is no far away from that. There is a lot of hydro in the energy mix, and the temperatures in some provinces can be quite high. But I guess it's more of a regulatory framework, because the government tried to implement feed-in tariffs in the last round of FIDs for a little bit higher um, price on floating systems. However, this did not really attract much attention from developers, and I guess there must be a little bit more technological improvement in order to get there on a cost basis. Um, okay, and what about storage? And my question is first to Juan. What do you have any case studies where you have implemented your products in energy storage systems, and what problems do you solve there?
Actually, for the storage, we still have the storage system, but actually, I'm not handling that storage, so I cannot say much about the how develop storage in Vietnam and there's some related information. But from basic, my view in internally storage, we have the Kokam factory that's producing about the battery and prepare for the storage in the coming after the solar market pumping in recently. This surely that's the story is very important to how to maintain to keep the power to store the power and keeping good after the renewable energy. Yeah. From the Vietnam, we did not have any storage in Vietnam yet currently from my side. Sorry about that one.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a story here, that particularly in Vietnam, the industry is far behind. But I guess the economics just don't add up. Hadi, do you share the same opinion?
About the battery storage, recently we see the government applying some limitation for solar farms. I think this is the time for Vietnam to start developing some and focusing some area about the battery storages. Even the thing that you mentioned about the floating solar panel, I think the hybrid power plants, like if we consider dam or floating solar panel combination with battery storage, it decrease like or reduce a lot of POS costs in these cases. In Vietnam, one of the issue that we are seeing, it's the complement problem, and of course focusing on the technologies to increase the solar panel generation using the better solar panels, better inverters, operation costs, and all can increase like the generation and the revenue of the company. But however, I think one of the most and the biggest problem in here is it can be fixed. It can be fixed by battery storages. As when we are talking about renewable energies, especially the renewable energies that they are dealing with the solar, wind, and unstable weather conditions, the battery storage are the best backup and the boundary removers for these areas.
Thank you. I guess the last topic I wanted to touch base on was trackers. Even though also not super popular in Vietnam due to regulations on the land ratio. I guess trackers do make a difference in the Middle East, for example. I'm sure you have some knowledge, some overview on projects there. But are they making any financial / economic difference in Vietnam? Yeah, Hadi, to you.
Okay, so thanks, Milan. For trackers, I think for trackers, as I said, so there is three limitations that we are facing with them, three obstacles. The first one is the like, so if your generation increase, so as we are seeing, it's the most generation time in Vietnam, it's from 10 a.m. to I think 2-3 p.m. That's the highest radiation and generation. But however, most of the solar plants in Vietnam have a curtailment issue with this one. So applying, and of course, based on the Vietnam geographical location and the sunrise and sunset, so from after 4 p.m., we don't have too much irradiance and the generation. So applying the trackers for this short time, like after 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., and before that, it doesn't make sense at the moment. So for trackers, in some area, yes, I'm talking in general, it doesn't make sense. So I think for trackers and applying trackers technologies in Vietnam, like single axis or dual axis in Vietnam, I think the single is enough because of the geographical location. So and for removing this boundary, I think that the battery storage is the is an inevitable requirement for this one. It's necessary to they start applying the battery storage, then can start moving on to trackers and the technology related to that one.
Yeah, hopefully soon we'll see a little bit more batteries or at least projects in development in Vietnam. Priyanshi, I think we're good to wrap up unless there is some questions from the audience.
So we don't have questions from the audience, but we can take closing remarks by all the panelists, including Teen Sir, you, Hoang Sir, and Hadi Sir. If that is okay.
Sure, thank you. Tien, some closing remarks?
Again, Milan, can again question?
Just your view on the trends of large-scale solar and anything that you may want to add.
Ok, hiện nay ấy, ở Việt Nam thì các cái solar farm thì vẫn đang vẫn tất cả các dự án về solar farm vẫn đang trong tình trạng là chờ cái phê duyệt quy hoạch điện 8 của chính phủ Việt Nam. Thì dự kiến là trong năm nay thì sẽ phê duyệt quy hoạch điện 8 thì một số các cái dự án lớn thì hiện nay có nằm trong nó khoảng 6,2 GW, có khoảng 6,2 GW đã nằm trong cái quy hoạch rồi, quy hoạch 7 mở rộng. Do đó thì có khả năng cao là các cái dự án đó sẽ được triển khai. Tuy nhiên sẽ có những cái ràng buộc nhất định về mặt có thể là sẽ phải bổ sung thêm hệ thống lưu trữ để đảm bảo cho cái vấn đề về mặt điều phối khi mà cắt giảm công suất, hoặc là để phục vụ cho cái việc mà có cái tính dự trữ cho lưới. Đó thì tôi nghĩ rằng là thị trường điện mặt trời tại Việt Nam trong thời gian tới nó sẽ đi theo hướng chủ yếu sẽ tập trung vào là điện áp mái theo hướng tự dùng. Đấy, còn điện mặt trời farm thì nó sẽ có khoảng 6,2 GW. Theo cái còn là những cái dự án mà đã còn lại của quy hoạch điện 8, quy hoạch điện 7 mở rộng chuyển giao sang quy hoạch điện 8. Ok.
Good day. So Mr. Tian as translator. So for Mr. Tian answer Milan's question. Currently in Vietnam, the solar farm are still in pending approval from the Vietnamese government, and the volume is 6.2 gigabyte of the solar farm projects is still in the pending list, and in order to make it into the real operation, it will need the storage, proper storage system. And from Mr. Tian's point of view, currently still the trend of solar power in Vietnam is still the rooftop solar power for the own customer consumption.
Perfect. Thanks, Tien. Thank you. Juan,
Okay.
over to you. Juan, you're on mute and you're frozen.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I understand, sir, with the things, the view about the solar market is coming by government, because now the difficulty how the interconnection line, the heavy load interconnection line, so the government may issue some the support from the how to because solar is renewable energy with net zero, the strategy of the Vietnam 2050, sorry. So of course that the solar continue developing, but how to developing? Maybe the government will issue some the guideline, the schematics to develop a rooftop solar with the cell consumes is the most maybe they can absorb back 10% to the power grid only. For the other of the large scale solar mini storage have their maybe installed together, or how to consume of the what solar produced to reduce about the loss of the power transmission line is very important to the government control right now. Yes, this is some overview of my side.
Thanks, Juan. And closing with Hadi, please.
Hadi, sir, you can also talk about the performing drone and UAV for the solar farms.
Okay,
We would like
Milan,
to
can
hear from you.
okay, thank you, Priyanji. Milan, can you repeat the question again? I think I already answered this one.
The closing remarks, more or less, how you see the trends going forward.
Okay, so I think the Vietnam kind of limiting the solar farms development here. I think next few years will be the time that the companies and the investor IPP or everyone who's working in renewable energy industry in Vietnam that focusing on some other kind of technologies and innovative infrastructure of and installation of the solar panels, like using like floating solar panels or agrivoltaic here, that they are also the part can develop and increase their generation, like as we know that voltaic solar panel and using agriculture in the solar panels increase the generation of the solar panel about 4 or 5% based on the temperature change on solar panels, and of course the time of use of the panels and the lifetime of it. The other things that we can see in here, the related technologies for operation and maintenance, that super energy start focusing on operation with aerial inspection technologies in Vietnam. We are doing some pilot project in-house for our solar farms in here, and later on we will move to wind as well. And based on the case studies we had, we are seeing that this operation and maintenance methods increase the time, like reduce the time of inspection and increase the time of the availability of our staffs, and the other part that it in average increase the generation between 1-2%. There are some other parts that companies can consider, as Huang said, the smart inverters, like using the string inverters, centralized inverters in this area, that which one can be more beneficial us for our that's the another section that producers and the companies like SolarEdge should focus on that one. There is also some area that it's forgotten in this industry, is that the manpower, focusing on the manpower area, that I think there are some technologies, as Huang mentioned, that operation team, that the traveling, the traffic in Vietnam, the infrastructure for the traveling, availability of the staffs for this one, that some technologies can remove these boundaries, like as using remote technologies or simulation systems for this one. I think that Vietnam has a potential that in this next 2-3 years that invest a lot on the technology part of the solar farms, rather than investing on the development of the and installation or design of the solar farms.
Great. Thanks. Over to Priyanshi. Thanks everyone for attending this panel.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Milan sir. You were absolutely outstanding as always, and it was a pleasure to have you all. So, with this, I've come to the end of the day one of Vietnam Solar Week 2022. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for an exciting and insightful panel discussion, which will be focused on the rooftop sector, followed by the most prestigious award ceremony. Till then, bye from our end. Now the floor is open for networking. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, team sir. Thank you, Huang sir,
Thank you.
Milan sir, and Hadi sir. Thanks a lot.
See you, Milan.
Yeah, bye bye, Milan. Thank you. Các bạn Tiến à?